Okay, the next thing that we'll be working on is the ground surface. So I'm just copying this color layer and going to paste it in the bump layer, and I just want to see how that bump is coming up in our model in the render. And yeah, it's quite there, it's quite visible. And now the rest of the time that I spent on this surface is just trying to see how I can accent this bump the best way. So you'll see me here playing with putting that color map on diffuse or in color, or you know, the both, and just trying to get this feel of the render in the best way. So you know, I'm changing the color of the ground a little bit, and at the end I did decide that maybe the best way to get these lines really pop out is to get them using specularity. So I used a rather high, you know, like it's not that high, but it is a concrete value of the specularity, which is 50%, and glossiness really, really low. Now what this allows for specularity to really spread, and then you really start to see these grooves come out. I was really happy with that. And also wanted to add a little bit of specularity to the turntable base as well. That is something that, you know, slipped my mind while I was concentrating too much on the color part. And as far as specularity goes, you can never go wrong if you go under gradient and incidence angle. Put an incidence angle as alpha, because most of the things out there which are specular are more specular on the incidence angle. That means if you look at it, you know, at a 90 degrees angle, they're going to be least specular. But as you you know, get more and more into the 45 degrees or 20 degrees or 10 degrees, things start to really get specular. You can really see this with the sea. When you look at it, you know, straight from above, you can see the bottom, but when you're staying on the beach, you really see it reflecting the sun. The sky. And this is the case with most of the things out there. And after a little bit of tweaking, I was happy with those specularity settings as well. And now, of course, we always have to keep in mind the big picture. So at this point, I wanted to just render out the whole image. And I'm increasing resolution a little bit and adding some anti-aliasing, you know, just to see what we have so far. And that's always, you know, very important, just to see how the part that you're working on is fitting with the rest of the object, with the rest of the scene. And you can see here that these render times are really low, you know, which is very good. It allows us to work in a comfortable and efficient workflow, and we're not afraid to re-render and change things. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we're getting. Now this turntable surface, I really like the way it's looking. And yeah, the ground as well. I really like the style. It's very difficult to get these really strong grooves like we see in the reference image over there without using normal maps, without going to a program like ZBrush or Mudbox. But really wasn't going so much for that as for the general feel, for the look, and I really like the style of our ground. I feel it really complements the whole scene together. And a perfect spot to save our work, and not only our scene, but also our surfaces. You know, we worked really hard on those, and I want to make sure that, you know, this turntable base surface is saved, just in case, you know, something happens. And that's a very good practice. So I'll see you in the next session. Okay, so in this session we're going to work just a little bit more on a turntable base and also do the fence. So going to activate limited region and do a quick render. So we have our starting point, and that's our starting point where we left off last time. And one thing I want to do is add a little bit more color to it and make it a little bit more darker. Okay, I'm gonna do a quick render to see the new color, and then you have to wait to render. I wanted to increase specularity till 30%. But for these test renders, I want to put anti-aliasing at 1. And yeah, we're starting to move in the direction I want to go. And I wanted to add a little bit more color to it. And for this, I downloaded one texture, and that is this rock smooth texture. And I find cubic projection usually to be the best for these cubical things. And immediately I see the texture is a bit too small, so I want to increase it to 5 meters. And yeah, that's better. But I'm kind of seeing these sharp transitions here, and I want to smooth those transitions out a little bit. For this, we'll go into Photoshop and open our rock smooth texture. And duplicating there just, you know, for the safety of it. And we can use like middle hardness, and this is about the right diameter. And just basically select one side with a clone stamp and copy it on the other side. Again, I'm drawing with a Wacom pen tablet, so I can change the opacity depending on the pressure. So if you're just drawing with a mouse, you know, it's going to be a little slower for you, but the general point is to kind of copy the similarity of one side into the other, so it's a bit more tileable. And yeah, we can go under Image Editor and just replace this with the turntable color. And it's looking a lot better. And one thing I want to do also is change the blend mode to multiply. And yeah, I shouldn't delete that image window because now we lost all the previous renders for comparison. But you know, doesn't matter that much. Yeah, it would be nice to see how it looked before, but the main thing is how it's looking now. And yeah, pretty happy with that. And I want to play a little bit more with the specularity. It's this alpha is killing the specularity just a little bit too strong. Okay, yeah, like that better. And want to make it just a little bit darker. Okay, yeah, pretty happy with that. And we can save what we did so far, save the scene as well, and go also and save all objects. Okay, so now that we've done the turntable base, the next thing I'm going to do is the fence. So here I'm adjusting the limited region for the fence, and going to render a frame so we have our starting point. Right now it's just the default surface, nothing much to it, but we want to kind of achieve this look that we see in this reference image. So the first thing we're going to do is make it a bit darker. And yeah, let's just see how that looks now. Maybe a little bit more darker after all. Let's just see. Okay. And I really want the specularity to be high on this one. And as I said, you know, you should always, I mean, not always, but you know, adding gradient incidence angle alpha to the specularity is always a good idea. And want it to be a bit more specular on the edges. And you can just go under invert, you know, and just see how your preview there looks to see, you know, what alpha is hiding and what it's not hiding. And I want to get glossiness really down. So we're going to get this big spread out of specularity. And make this darker and diffuse around 50 just to get that, you know, really dark color. Because I want to have this silhouette kind of drawn out by specularity. And right now I'm really cranking it up and trying to get that darkness and this specular silhouette being seen. And yeah, put diffuse at 0 to really make it black. And add a little bit of a bump texture just to break out the specularity a little bit. Everything is really smooth. So I'm adding some turbulence with a really low scale. And we can already see, you know, something is happening there. And it's a bit difficult to see from that distance what's happening exactly. So zooming in with the camera is always a good idea. So we have a better idea of what's happening there. It's a bit too strong right now. And now we're, you know, just entering that phase we had with the turntable-based texture of trial and error. You know, just play with the settings until you get what you want to get. Right now, that texture was a bit too strong, but I also wanted to add a bit more of a bit different bumps as well. And our good friend Dented will come in handy here as well. And as I'm adding these layers, you know, just rendering out to see the changes. And yeah, it's definitely going in the direction that I want it to go, but I do want to make these dents just a little bit smaller. And usually, you know, you get really quickly to like something you're 80% happy with and then you spend 3 times the amount of time to get to the 100% happy with, because from there it's just a little tweak here and a little tweak there, playing with the scale, playing with the frequency and other options that you have for that procedural texture, and just seeing the direction that it takes you. And usually, the difference at the end is not, huge, but it is that 20% which I always go for in my images, and I find, that really takes the whole thing, to another level of quality. And so that's exactly what I'm doing here. And yeah, it's pretty happy with the result I'm getting here. And wanted to increase the render size and render one render of the whole picture to see what we're getting in contrast with the whole image. And yeah, pretty happy with that. Just wanted to tweak a little bit the turntable base stone again. Wanted to add that new color that we had in the color, also in the bump map, just to see what's happening there, if we can get something interesting there. And changing the order of the layers is also going to affect the whole situation. What layer is above what layer. And as far as this texture bump that I use, I want it to be on bottom, to be kind of the base for all the other bumps that are going at top of it. And yeah, it looked pretty good. I was happy with that. But I wanted to play a little bit more with the fence, so went into model there, and this fence is kind of distorted, but not as distorted as I want it to be. As you can see on the reference image, this Barton feel is really twisty and play. So I wanted to add just a little bit more of that to our fence. So just go into Modeler and play with it a little bit more. It was too straight, definitely, and wanted to add a bit more crookedness to it. And the magnet tool, is a perfect tool for the job. So don't be shy to roll things up. As you can see here, I did the same thing that we did for the first time that we were jittering out this fence. That is just take it into a separate layer. Hide everything other than the fence, and then just hide 1/2 of it. So you can easily work in the back view, affecting just one side of the fence. And I wanted to kind of bend these spikes a little bit more. And as I'm working at this, already I'm liking what I'm getting. So I was, certain I was on the right path there. And yeah, just go for it. Adjust every parameter of the fence that you can. The size of the things. Right now everything was kind of level. These spikes were all at the same height. But really, the point of this fence is that it's really, all over the place. And once you're happy with one side, You just go into the other side and do the same thing. So I'm going to speed things up for you here. It's basically the same thing that we did on the first half of the fence. We're doing here, just jittering it up, changing those spikes, raising them, twisting them, and doing basically the same thing that we did, as I said, on the first side of the fence. And adding the last bit of touches there. And once you're happy with everything, unhide and see how it looks. One thing that I wanted to do is rotate the fence a little bit so that these vertical poles of the fence don't enter into these into the area where these two blocks are coming together. So I'm just kind of rotating, seeing. I mean, it's not so easy to do because we have a lot of these vertical poles in the fence, and we also have a lot of these points of connection with the stone. So finding the best possible solution, and you can always manually move a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and checking it out, and yeah, that's it. We can save incremental, and also save our scene once the layout updates our new model, and render out to see what we have. It's a lot better, like it a lot more, and yeah, just need to turn this back into sub patches. And again, save, going to layout so it's updated, and going to remove this limited region and render what we have so far, and crank up the anti-aliasing a little bit just to really see what we have so far. And yeah, that is looking pretty good. You just need to work a little bit more on the tombstones, a little bit more on Jack, and it's going to be ready. So I will see you in the next session where we're going to tackle those things.